Yo, see me talking about hoops, keep it real all day. Tune into the podcast with Jennifer Porte. Got the latest stats for you, got lots to say. She gon' break it down for you, alright, okay. She got the scoop on the players, she gon' tell it all. Tune in to Let's Talk Man and Basketball. Yo, what's that shooting average? Who's the best of all? How they performing when they're back against the wall? And yeah, she got the facts when you looking for truth. She gon' tell you who's the best at a 3-point shoot. Yo, who's the one the team's trying to recruit? Yo, tune in to get the greatest and the latest scoop. It go, Let's Talk Man and Basketball. I said let's talk man and basketball. Hey yo, talk man and basketball. Yo, let's talk man and basketball.
What's up, basketball fans? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Let's Talk Men and Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Porte. In today's episode, we'll dive into the NBA playoffs, discuss Giannis Antetokounmpo's trade rumors, and later, we're chopping it up with two-time NBA champion Josh Powell. So, stay tuned. First, let's dive into the NBA playoffs. Right now, all eyes is on the intense battle between the Denver Nuggets and Oklahoma City Thunders, with the series tied 3-3. The Nuggets forced a decisive Game 7 after a strong 119-106 win in Game 6, led by standout performances from Nikola Jokic. Game 7 is currently on ABC, and the Oklahoma City Thunders are up by 10 points. If you are in front of your TV, I suggest you tune in now to Game 7 because you just never know the outcome of this matchup. The winners of this game will move on to face the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals. Minnesota has had an impressive closeout against the Golden State Warriors. They won this series in 5 games, and now they're patiently waiting to see who they'll take on for Game 1 on May 21st. Over in the East, the New York Knicks are making a statement. They secured a spot in the Eastern Conference Finals with a dominant 119-81 victory over the Boston Celtics in Game 6, taking the series 4-2. The Knicks will now face off against the Indiana Pacers, who eliminated the Cleveland Cavaliers in the previous round. The series tip-off on May 22nd, so mark your calendars because you don't want to miss this. So while teams like the Knicks and the Timberwolves are locked in and looking ahead of conference finals, there's a different kind of tension building elsewhere in the league. The Bucks season may be over, but the drama begins. The Milwaukee Bucks star player Giannis Antetokounmpo has not requested a trade, but he has been hinting at signs of wanting to move out of Milwaukee. Now, it's just a rumor, it's not real, but just last week in a Q&A, Giannis dropped a comment that made fans suspect he wants to move out of Milwaukee. And this was the comment. So he took it to Twitter and he basically said that New York is his favorite city to play in on the road. To me, that's an innocent comment. However, NBA Twitter world is assuming that he is trying to say he wants to be traded. I don't know about that, but there have been speculations that the Lakers are looking to grab him from Milwaukee, which would be a good trio between him, LeBron, and Luka. I think that trade would be the blockbuster trade of the summer, if you ask me, if that happens. But you can't sleep on the Spurs because the Spurs could also pick him up. You know, they have the access. They also have the number 2 pick in the draft. So you just never know. The Miami Heat could also pick him up. But time will tell. Let me know in the comments where you guys think Giannis Antetokounmpo will end up. Will he stay or will he leave? Who knows? Let me know in the comments. But in our next segment, we're going to chop it up with two-time NBA champion Josh Powell. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Let's Talk Men and Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Porte, and today I'm honored to welcome two-time champion who has played alongside some of the greatest to ever do it, including the late, great Kobe Bryant. But beyond the reigns and highlights, he's a devoted father, author, and mentor, and has made a meaningful impact both on and off the court. So without further ado, please welcome Josh Powell to Let's Talk Men and Basketball Podcast. Hi, Josh. How are you doing today?
Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. All of that beautiful stuff. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good. Thanks for asking. So, what have you been up to nowadays?
Oof. Being a father, being an entrepreneur, um, on my spiritual journey, first and foremost. So just, trying to work on a better version of myself so that way I can do the things that I am here to do, my purpose.
Wow. What do you think your purpose is now that you're retired from basketball?
The same way it was before, which is serve, um, be an example of love, bring people together, and help with healing.
Mm, love it. Can you take us back to your earlier years? Where did you grow up and what was your childhood like?
Mm. So I grew up on the south side of Atlanta, College Park by way of Riverdale. Uh, the version of my childhood, I grew up with love. I grew up with a spiritual background. Um, but that doesn't mean that with those things that it didn't come with challenges.
Yeah.
So my my mother and my father divorced when I was young. My mother then uh, remarried eventually, and I had stepbrothers. I went from living with my mom to living with my grandparents for a couple of years to back with my mom, um, adjusting to her new home and way of living, adjusting to my father's uh, new home and way of living, because then my father still was in South Carolina, my mother was in Atlanta. And basketball became an out. It became my way of seeking family, my way of finding community, and it was also an outlet. It was
Mm,
an outlet. It was important for me to have that growing up because that gave me a way to express. Because I felt that early on for quite some time I didn't really have a true way of expressing, and there was a part of me that didn't know how to express either. So a little bit of both.
okay. When did you fall in love with the game of basketball?
Mm, I feel like I fell in love with wanting to prove people wrong first.
Mm,
That doesn't mean that I didn't have love for the game. I did, but sports for me was a way to relate. It gave me the opportunity to connect with other young men, um, and it gave me the opportunity to express myself in different ways.
mm.
So that was more so my voice. And actually, before basketball, it was baseball and football. Basketball became later. So as I started to uncover and discover, um, it really uh, helped me grow as a young man, and it helped me um, to start getting the confidence to find my voice, the confidence to excel, the confidence to know that I belonged in doing the sport that I ended up choosing later on out of baseball, football, and basketball. So um, it became my passion, and it also became my obsession at the same time.
Oh, you mentioned basketball being your way out. At what moment did you realize basketball was going to be your big ticket to something bigger?
Way later.
Mm,
And I don't even know if I look at it as a big ticket. Again, more so was me finding family. And then around my sophomore, junior year, I was like, okay, I can go to school for free by doing this thing that I love. And then like junior year, senior year, I was like, no, I could go a little bit further. Like I had confidence. I believed in myself. But I was more of a late bloomer. So it was like by me putting in the work, doing the things that was necessary for me to do, um, it allowed me and it helped me to expand my vision and my mind and understanding that this gift is going to take me places way further than I could have imagined.
You were undrafted in 2003, but you still carved out a long career and a successful career. What kept you motivated through those tough times in the early years?
Love and respect for the game.
Mm.
In my mind, and nobody can tell me differently. Nobody worked harder than me. Nobody had the grind or the passion that I had to have or the drive. And I paid attention to like what everybody was doing. So I always wanted to be a student of the game, and I used those things as a measuring stick. And I never wanted to cheat myself. I never wanted to cheat the game. I never wanted to cheat those who created the opportunity for people like myself to be able to play the game of basketball. So my work ethic was always top tier, even to this day. Like that foundation has been set, and that is something that helps me to overcome and outlast a lot of people. But also when it comes to a lot of these situations, because I don't have no quit in me. And those are the things that help me sustain. And if I fail at something, it's just an opportunity for me to learn and figure out ways that I can improve and get better, or a different direction in order to get to where I need to get to.
Wow. When you went undrafted, did you have like negative people talking in your ear trying to tell you maybe you should pursue something else, or did you
Of
have positive
course.
people around you?
Of course. I have positive people, so I want to shout out to my circle, um, and those people that love me and care for me and that help me. But you're always going to have,
Yeah.
those that doubt
And how did you deal with?
that you can't do something. So for me, draft night, for example, was very painful. It was very painful because I felt like I was deserving of walking across that stage. But the universe has other plans, and that's okay. I'm grateful that I had an agent that was patient, that was transparent, and that also believed in me because he told me, like, we're going to figure this out one way or another. Um, Grateful for my mother, my uncles and aunties, um, my grandparents, um, coaches along the way that believed in me. And again, it's not like I had this whole community of people, but the ones that I did have were very beneficial. They were extremely supportive and loving, and some of those people are some of the same voices that support me to this day.
And how did you block out the negativity?
It is, that's a daily effort. I believe that when you know who you are and you understand your worth, that you don't allow people to speak or project onto you.
I love
I'm
that.
not saying that it's easy, right? Being honest, I'm not saying that it's easy, but if you continue to put in the work each and every day, then you put yourself in a great position to be able to withstand and overcome the test of time, like challenges, um, negativity, lack of support, um, whatever the case may be. I always believed in myself. I always trusted in myself. I trusted in my work ethic. I had to be my biggest cheerleader because the way I grew up, like I had so many people telling me that I wasn't and that I'm wasting time and I'm not going to be nothing. And I just wouldn't allow myself um, to fall to that. And I was so busy wanting to prove them wrong that was my initial motivation. And then I was like, why am I doing that? It's not about them, it's about me. And prove that you're right, because I don't need to prove anybody wrong. Your opinion is your opinion. I'm not here to do nothing for you. If anything, I need to be proving myself to the creator, because the creator is the person that gave me the gift. The creator is the one that afforded me these opportunities, that opened doors, put me in situations, allow me to fail and fall and get back up. Like, that's who I needed to prove myself to.
Most definitely. What advice would you give players trying to find their way in sports, or whether it be basketball or any other sport, and they didn't go the traditional route of the draft? What advice would you give them?
Well, this is for those, even if they do get drafted, you still got to earn your keep.
True.
Ain't
Yeah.
nothing sweet. Ain't nothing given.
Yeah.
You have to show why you were the number one pick. You have to show why you were the 32nd pick. You have to show why you were the 60th pick. You have to show why you were undrafted and they picked you up.
Mm.
In
Yes.
basketball, I don't know the numbers on baseball and football, but in basketball, there's only been 4,800 or 4,900 players to ever wear an NBA jersey
Wow.
in 78, 9 years of its existence. So the fact that I am one of 4,900 to put on an NBA jersey, and not just that, but to have a long career, you
Yeah.
can't tell me anything otherwise. I am special. And
Yes.
I'm not only special, but I'm deserving. And I'm deserving not because it was handed to me. And no matter what people want to think about anybody, even, for example, Bronny James,
Mm-hmm.
the amount of work that Bronny is putting in, regardless of what people want to say, there's
Yeah.
a ton of people that wouldn't put in that much amount of work in order to get to college, any type of professional, whatever, G League, NBA, overseas, I don't care where, what, there's a lot of people that don't have that work ethic
Mm-hmm.
that will get them a look, let alone an actual opportunity, or let alone you start racking up year after year after year. Whether NBA or overseas, to be a professional, it takes a different type of human being
Yeah.
in order to go through that grind. All these folks that judge and mock and try to tear down and talk trash about them, you ain't got half the work ethic.
Sure don't.
You don't even know what it would be like to go to the gym 3 times a day, 4 times a day.
Yeah.
You don't know what it would look or feel like to have to beat your body up in order to recreate a different version of it every time you hit the court, the weight room, the pool, uh, the training table, whatever it is. A lot of people don't know what that's like to push past your limit.
Yeah.
No idea. But they sit on their phones and they talk about everybody, even some players. Some of the players that haven't gotten to a certain point, you still don't know what it's like to be that.
Yeah. That's true.
So it takes a different type of person, man, like to really go through that. And that
Yeah.
message is for everybody, because it takes a level of dedication, discipline, sacrifice, patience, understanding, obsession, love, respect, all of those things when you're talking about the game of basketball, which is something that is changing people's lives.
Wow, so true. Speaking of Bronny James, um, I personally think he's going to be a great player. What advice would you
Absolutely.
give him? What advice would you give him and what you saw? Because I know you watched a few of his games. So, by watching his games, what advice would you give him going into year two for next season?
I think for one, a lot of people still don't realize that he almost lost his life.
Yeah,
And they can say what they want about him prior to that or say what they want to after that. For one, nobody will ever know what it's like to feel being LeBron James's son,
yeah,
Michael Jordan's son, you know, Kobe Bryant's daughter, even though that was a little bit different because she was going to pave her way in the women's world, but that still comes with an amount of pressure that some are built for and some aren't.
mm-hmm.
So the fact that this kid who's never been in trouble comes from a really good family, he clearly puts the work in.
Yeah,
And he's allowed time to grow. He's young. He's going into his second year. I think for him, it's just to stay the course. For him, he needs to be doing a lot of hooping.
yeah,
Not just like the skill work, but like one on one, two on two, getting into these runs and just playing free, which we seen him grow and his confidence build as he continued to play in the G League and do those things. And mind you, we haven't seen anybody that's been a second round pick, even some of these first rounders that have gained the amount of attention that he's gained.
yeah.
So for him, he's already surrounded by a great support system. Just play the game of basketball, love it, enjoy it, and take it one day at a time. I don't think that the message has to be something over the top or special, but just love what you do. Block all that noise out and just love it. And you'll see. I mean, we watched him start to show emotion. We watched him put up 40 in
Yeah.
some of the league games. We've watched him, he's athletic as I don't know what. He's a really good defender. He has an IQ. He has an understanding and a feel for the game.
Mm-hmm.
People just wanting him to, you got to go out here and score 20, but like that may not be him, and that's okay. Why is it that we want to force people to do things that we want? But he needs to do what's going to allow him to be what he needs to be for whatever team, which is clearly right now the Lakers. What is it that they need for him to be? What does that process look like? And as long as he's going above and beyond for that organization, I wish him nothing but love and success.
Most definitely. What was your welcome to NBA moment?
I was excited to see my locker and the jersey and the socks and the shorts and the tights. Like
Yeah.
me, like I'm not, I didn't have no like somebody just dunked on me or did something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I always played hard and I put myself in a position, at least I felt, to be successful. Did I make mistakes? Did I have bad games or, do certain things? Absolutely. But nobody was going to go harder than me. Nobody was going to pay attention or grow as fast as I was willing to grow. Um, so I was willing to put that time and effort in. And again, like my moment was when I actually was in the locker room, seeing the jersey, warming up for the first time. Like that was like cool for me. That was really big for me.
Wow. What was it like playing for the Los Angeles Lakers during their championship run?
A movie, a movie. Um, the best experience playing wise, one of the best experiences I've had in my professional year. Shout out to the city of Los Angeles,
Yeah.
the love that they have for the purple and gold, um, the love that the world has for the purple and gold. So just being a part of that culture, being a part of those expectations, the tradition, it was just really a beautiful experience, and it helps when you're able to play underneath leadership, like Phil Jackson, who's coached arguably two of the best players to ever play the game, along with some other greats that he's been able to coach.
Yeah.
Then having the opportunity, I played against Kobe, but to actually be in the locker room with him and to be able to see his day to day, how he takes care of his body, his mind, what he does for his family, how he is in business, how he is on the court, how he preps for every day. That was truly a blessing. And then at the same time, too, teammates like Derek Fisher, Paul Gasol, Shannon Brown, Sasha Vujicic, Jordan Farmer, like Lamar Odom, like the list goes on. Andrew
Yeah.
Bynum, that's my
Yeah.
like the list goes on and on and on. And just Trevor Ariza, how amazing that team was, even
Yeah.
when Meta came. So um, relationships, brothers still to this day. Um, but man, we worked our tails off and we competed and we got better every day and we went at each other. That's why we had the success that we had. So
Yeah. What was Kobe Bryant like as a teammate?
a dog, someone with an obsession for the game of basketball, the way he broke down film, the way he worked in the weight room, the way he worked on the court, the way he worked on his body, um, the intensity, the intentionality, uh, everything.
Hmm.
Like
What's
he embodied that, and that's why he got the respect that he did, not just on the teams, but amongst the brotherhood.
yes. What's a memory or a lesson from Kobe that stuck with you still to this day?
So many of them. Um, I don't know if it's a lesson. I guess you can put this in the category of memory, but watching him with people, because you always got the version of Kobe that he's an a-hole, he doesn't fool with people. Like, I can't speak for number 8. I got a chance to really you know learn and understand number 24. um but watching the things that he did, uh and then when he passed, you heard all of these stories about things that he did, how he showed up and shot around with people's kids, or did. I remember what he did for me.
Wow. What did
That
he do?
that man came to my baby shower. He took the helicopter, brought the gift. Like, he showed up,
Wow.
not once but twice. Like, he showed up for me on multiple occasions. And I remember he put out a article for GQ, and they were doing this article and doing all this stuff. They were with him. Like, for example, like when he came to the shower, and the only reason I know this is because some of the stuff he said in the article, because like when he was taking a ride on the helicopter, like he there was like a small piece in there where he talked about, like, yeah, I got this gift from my teammate, his daughter, da, 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 like that's him.
Yeah.
And I think that it's beautiful when you get to see the humanistic side to any athlete,
Hmm.
because we're only judged by what we do on the court. But when you actually get to see someone's heart, feel their heart or their spirit, it really is a cool thing.
Wow. Do you remember the last time you talked to Kobe?
Um, I ran into him. It was a dinner 2 times, but I know I ran into him. I can't remember. Um, where the last time was, because we caught up. But I know I was supposed to, when we was talking, like I was going to come to do his camp. That was some of the things that we talked about, and just kind of talking through some other opportunities and just things like that. Just kind of seeing what he had and what he was working on. So, yeah.
You're a devoted father. How were you able to balance your basketball career as well as fatherhood?
I don't have the right answer.
Okay.
But I always try to be present.
Wow.
And you get it right sometimes and other times you don't. But the times that I didn't, it wasn't because I didn't want to be, it's because I made a choice. And my choice was I needed to work on my game. I needed to pour into my craft because that was how I needed to take care of my kids
Hmm.
and my family.
Wow.
That's the part that's the struggle, because as a man, as a father, you're gonna disappoint somebody every day. And I know I've disappointed my then wife at the time, and I know I disappointed family. I know I disappointed my kids, um, because there's times where I couldn't be there, not because I didn't want to be, I just couldn't be there because I needed to work on my game. I needed to pour into my craft. I needed to rest.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just couldn't be at places because I just needed to sit still.
Wow.
And I don't I don't apologize for that,
Mhm.
but it's tough because, sometimes your sacrifices can be turned um, against you, and it may not be as appreciated.
Wow.
Uh, but that's life, and that doesn't stop my love. It doesn't get in the way of. So
Wow. Oh, well, I love your books. You pour out a lot of wisdom and knowledge, especially when it comes to, relationships and also, other things. So what made you want to be an author, and
the
what made you
universe,
want to jump into that genre?
the universe.
Oh,
I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be an author.
yeah.
Uh, it's something that kind of happened, and I've had multiple people tell me I should write a book, and then um, I was working on a project with a young lady, and some things kind of happened, and then like the joint venture turned into this solo thing. It just kind of got birthed out of that. So, um, but I did know that no matter what it is, I wanted to create change. I wanted to be able to help somebody. So that is why once I finally bought into it, I was just like, you know what, just go at it. And I'm glad I did, because it's really cool, like being an author, like having that attached to your name, because it's something that's most people are very scared
Mm-hmm.
to do, to step into that world because they don't know. And I can say that that's something that I've knocked off. And not only with one book, but I have a few books now that'll be um, dropping soon.
Oh, wow. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm a bit bookworm, and I really enjoy reading your books. What other projects or businesses and causes are you working on that you're excited about?
I'm here to save the world, Queen. I'm about to get on this plane. I'm about to go
Yeah.
um, all across the world to do mental health conferences, to do some um, work in the political field, to do some work to unite all
Mm.
walks of life. God willing, one more year of Big Three, and then I will officially call it a wrap for me and playing basketball. But yeah, I'm just excited about this summer. I think that there will be some doors that will open. There will be some chapters that will close, and it's all for the right reasons. And I'm excited about both.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Josh, for joining Let's Talk Men and Basketball podcast. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing what else God has in store for you.
Hey Queen, as we finish, I just want to tell you that I'm proud of you, man. Like there's nothing easy about being in this podcast space or to have a platform or you're trying to do your part to create stories or to share or shed light on other people's stories and do things in an amazing way. And I just want to salute you and let you know that I'm proud of you and that you're loved and appreciated because I get it. And a lot of times too, because I try to make sure I'm the example of it.
Yeah.
That everything doesn't always have to be for a price tag. And there's also times, or for other people, man, that everything doesn't matter about how big or small a platform is. Like sometimes you just need to do, because I remember when I was in certain situations or whatever, and I wasn't given some of these opportunities, or I had people that kind of looked down upon because it may not be sexy or whatever. Like, and I just wanted to just say to you, like, keep going.
Wow.
You're doing great. Keep going. And your heart's in the right place, and do it not because you're trying to get 1 million subscribers or you're trying to get monetized. Like, do it because you love it.
Wow. Yeah.
We don't do that enough. We live in a world where everything has to be transactional, or like we don't have passion projects as much.
Yeah.
And you never know what could come of that. If you stay with it and you just keep plugging away, especially when these are things that we're called to do.
Yeah.
If you feel it on your spirit to do what you're doing, Queen, God bless you.
Wow.
Right? And I just want to encourage you by saying that, because there's a lot of people in this space that are doing what they're doing because they want the check.
Yeah.
And everything, and I'm just a believer of this, but everything that's for you is absolutely for you. And sometimes your value may not be attached to a check, but you might save somebody's life with your voice.
Wow. That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And we don't understand the value in that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah. I really appreciate that. I really needed to hear that.
Absolutely.
At this moment, I'm just looking at it like this is definitely God speaking through you, because I was literally just having a conversation with someone before I got on the Zoom call with you. And what you're saying is basically confirmation. So I really appreciate it.
God bless you, Queen.
God
Absolutely.
bless you as well. Have a nice day. Thank you so much. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
That's it for today's episode of Let's Talk Men and Basketball podcast. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to Let's Talk Men and Basketball on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. Until next time, keep your head in the game.